of our home assignment about the stakeholder theory.
Hi, and I'm just going to talk about the introduction part. So, in as much as the market forces lay a great weight to implementation of the stakeholder theory, the theory remains an ethical model and has not attracted legal support. Even if the legislature is not yet convinced of the benefits or necessary or particularly the workability of the stakeholder theory, this brief examines the ability of companies to implement the theory as a business ethic under current corporation law. And the history of the corporation structure over the last 150 years reflects that its fundamental purpose has been to maximize corporate profit with a view to increasing shareholder wealth. Economic support for the theory arises from the view that long-term profitability of the company is dependent on more than just concentration on shareholder. And I'm just going to talk about some of the moral and ethical support for the stakeholder theory. So, ethical treatment does not mean equating the interest of stakeholders with those of shareholders. It means that stakeholders should be treated fairly and justly. And also, the basis of the moral reasoning is that each person is accountable to those whom his or her actions affect. Manager actions affect different stakeholders, and therefore, it is important to develop tools for analyzing managers' views of accountability and responsibility in stakeholders' relations.
I will be talking about legal perspective. The stakeholder theory currently has no basic recognition in the Australian corporations law. Economists such as Margaret Blair question whether the theory should be made law in the interests of public policy. In addressing this question, Blair raises a number of grounds that create difficulties in establishing legal certainty sufficient to legislate. The reasoning behind Australians' cautious approach to the stakeholder theory of corporate governance may be as simple as saying that as long as the companies are not broke, then there is no need for such a system to be fixed. Gamble and Kelly summarize that in order for any change to succeed, new forms of corporate governance need to show that they are superior to the old. At the moment, there is not enough knowledge to say that they are, although there are some convincing pointers towards such a conclusion. The discretion of the directors should, however, be regulated to avoid abuse of office. Reconciling high economic performance with stakeholder participation in decision making in firms can help. The key is to ensure that there is proper balance between the key stakeholders such as shareholders, consumers and suppliers, and to ensure that the regulatory procedure is transparent.
Conclusion: notwithstanding the duty of maximize shareholders' profits will always be exercised within the concentrates of the non-shareholders. Con- constituency interest and neglect of those interests is likely to affect the long-term viability of the corporation. Consideration of the shareholder interest should therefore be part of any comprehensive reform of Australian corporate governance.